Hey y'all, it's Zon Damour, entertainment journalist and fashion designer. And if you are starting your fashion journey and you are trying to figure out what is the best sewing machine that money can buy, I would highly recommend that you purchase the Singer Heavy Duty Sewing Machine. This is model 44S. I have had this machine for over 5 years with no issues. I use this machine every day for all of my projects, whether I'm making swimwear, resort wear, denim jackets, or vegan leather duffel bags. The Singer Heavy Duty Machine can do it all. And I'm so excited to welcome you to my new sewing series. I'm going to first teach you how to thread the machine, make a bobbin, and then we're going to start sewing clothes. So stay tuned. Here's how to thread your sewing machine. First, take your Coats and Clark all-purpose thread, put it on the spool pin and secure it with the spool cap. Then you're going to pull the thread to the left and under hooks number 1 and 2. After pulling the thread through the hooks, you're going to pull it down the center opening and around up to the next hook. Now, if you don't see this hook or the lever, you can use your hand wheel and crank it counter or clockwise until you raise it. Once the thread is through this hook, you're going to bring it down and then underneath where you'll see 2 additional hooks. Finally, take your pointer finger and thumb to the top of the thread and put it through the eye of the needle. And make sure that the thread goes through the center of the presser foot or through the center of the toes and push the thread towards the back. Now let's wind the bobbin. So first we're going to take our same Coats and Clark all-purpose thread, put it on the spool pin and secure it with the spool cap. And then you're going to place the thread, pull it towards the left, and you're going to put it under the first hook, which is called the thread guide. And then you're going to wrap the thread around the bobbin winding tension disc. Then you're going to put the thread under and up through the bobbin. Now place the bobbin onto the spindle, and when it's in the left, it's in sewing position, and then when you push it towards the right, that is the only position that it can be in order to wind the bobbin. Now wrap the thread around your index finger and then press the presser foot, and then you'll start to see the bobbin winding. You'll see the thread collecting on the bobbin, and you can, if you're working on a smaller project, you can stop whenever you feel like you have enough, or when the bobbin is full, it will kind of slow down on its own. And so when you notice that it's full, then you're going to push it to the left and pull it up. You can't release the bobbin when it's to the right. You have to push it back towards the left, and then you will cut it, disconnecting it from the main spool of thread. And you also cut that top part. And now it's time to insert the thread into the bobbin case. And so when you put it in the bobbin case, you're going to see 2 slits, and you want to make sure that you place them under and in between those slits. And then you're going to replace the cover, the bobbin case cover, and then use the hand wheel. You're going to rotate the hand wheel down, I believe that's what, counterclockwise. When you lower and raise the needle, it will create a loop from the bobbin thread, and you're going to pull that loop up through the needle plate and pull both of these thread tails towards the back. Now you have successfully threaded the machine and inserted your bobbin, and now you're ready to sew. Now I am just adjusting the length and the width for us to sew our first stitch. I typically sew on like 2.5, 3. I think that's a good length and width for most projects. And again, make sure that your needle is down into your fabric. Sink it into your fabric. Do not sew with the needle up. And again, press your presser foot and look at this beautiful stitch. This is in, of course, reverse to lock the stitch in. And if you have a straight stitch like this that is straight on both the front and the back, it's indicative of the machine being properly threaded as well as the bobbin being properly inserted. You see the stitch is perfectly straight. There are no, it's not knotted, this is not gathered, it's just straight. That's how you want all of your seams, your stitches and your seams to look. And just to reiterate, I'm going to, and this is just a piece of bias tape. I'm just sewing down to show that our machine is properly threaded as well as our bobbin has been properly inserted. And don't forget to back stitch to lock in your stitch every time you sew. You want to make sure that your stitches and your seams are secure, so make sure you back stitch. And finally, just want to add that I am using a size 80 needle. I'm just sewing bias tape. So this is like a strip of cotton essentially. So if you're sewing something that's lightweight, 1 or 2 layers, I would highly recommend using a size 80 needle. It's typically orange. And I hope that you enjoyed this first lesson of learning how to thread your machine and wind the bobbin. I hope to see you in our next lesson. We'll be making bodysuits, as well as bodycon dresses, shorts, pants, purses, and so much more. Have an amazing day.